We're going to talk a little bit today about the historical precedent or the historical, Nostradamusing that our founding fathers did in regards to the issue of morality and vice and virtue in a society. They said that no society could stand without morality and virtue. What we're seeing right now is a breakdown of the individual morality. And as such, it has affected the culture. The idea that we can decide our own truth. The idea that what you do in your own bedroom does not affect other people. I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to see a problem with it. And I think whether or not there was another shooter, there's a lot of questions about this murder, but it does appear that we have at least one of the people involved. So I want to kind of go through the letter from Samuel Adams to James Warren, November 4th, 1775 today. And we're going to look at what our founding fathers predicted would happen when virtue and morality were divorced from everyday living in society. And it's what we're living today. It's why Charlie Kirk is dead. Okay, if we had fixed 2 or 3 things about our society, this particular shooter would not have thought and acted in the way that he did. So let's talk about it. Before we do, though, I've got to introduce everyone on the panel. Miss Nikki, how are you?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. To my left, I got Charlie. How's it going?
I'm back from the chicken pits.
Back from the chicken pits. He was cooking for 13 hours straight.
13 hours.
For his church, and good stuff, Maynard.
Yep.
That was good.
To his left, we got Steve. How's it going?
Man, I'm back.
And
Hanging in there, being...
politically incorrect.
Yep, being back to be politically incorrect.
We're never away from.
Yep,
And then
back
we
in
got
my
Ryan.
spot. You bet, man. Ready and raring to go.
How's it going, Ryan?
I'm good. How's everyone here?
Just jump in, Mr. Producer. We're doing fine. So a little bit of levity. Again, it is a sad day, and it is a day of mourning for Charlie Kirk. So, but I do want to bring us back to some of the thoughts of Samuel Adams, and he's writing about the security of the Republic to James Warren, November 4th, 1775, and they're looking at this new nation that they wish to declare independence for, and they want to build. But Samuel Adams notes there is something very, very important. If we leave out morality and virtue from the individual, if the individual that comprises the aggregate, the individuals that comprise the aggregate, if they do not have virtue and morality, it doesn't matter how big your army is. The nation will fold underneath its own weight, and it'll fold into depravity. You'll have political assassinations. You'll have an army that's not capable of standing because they are so sexually degenerate that they could never actually be asked to lay down their life for their fellow soldiers. You're going to see a world that is not sustainable, and a stronger nation will come in and conquer. This is what our founding fathers thought. So without further ado, I'll get to their thoughts specifically. Let's go ahead and pull up cut 1, Mr. Producer. This is Samuel Adams. Let me talk with you a little about the affairs of our own colony. I persuade myself, my dear friend, that the greatest care and circumspection will be used to conduct its internal police and wisdom and integrity. The eyes of mankind will be upon you to see whether the government, which is now more popular than it has been for many years past, will be productive of more virtue, moral, and political. Start with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. He's saying, look, we're going to look at the colony, the state of the colony, the welfare of this, and again, they're thinking about revolution right now. They're thinking about starting a new country. That's in the back of everyone's mind. Is this government going to preserve morality and virtue? Cut number 2, Mr. Producer. Stop me at any point if you guys want.
I
Go ahead, Charlie. Charlie.
I love that first slide because you weren't here for that episode. You were gone, but we talked about some of the most important life principles. And one of them that I had, I think it was number 5, always think with the end in mind. Always try to think with the end in mind. And boy, that's the last statement on that slide. Very pivotal. Is it, everybody's watching.
The eyes
are on you.
The eyes are on you. Are you going to reflect God or not? And this is how we need to come back to revival.
Yes.
We need to focus on the individual. You and I can talk all we want about what Donald Trump should or shouldn't do, Joe Biden should or shouldn't do, the former vice president, whoever is occupying the White House, legitimately, illegitimately, or otherwise. We can talk about that, and we need to. And I'm not saying that we don't. We obviously, we're talking about that, and we should. If we don't police our own hearts and minds, mine, if I, John Arthur, do not police John Arthur's mind, it is not going to work. We need to be absolutely locked in. We need to be razor focused on truth, on virtue. And there's a source for truth and virtue. And that's Jesus Christ. If you're not a Christian, God bless you. But at least hopefully at this point, you're going to realize that there's at least value in the virtues and the morality. Hopefully we can come around that and have unity around that. Continuing on, we may look up to armies for our defense, but virtue is our best security. It is not possible that any state should long remain free where virtue is not supremely honored. This is as seasonably as it is justly said by one of the most celebrated writers from the present time. Perhaps the form of government now adopted and set up in the colony may be permanent. Should it be only temporary, the golden opportunity of recovering virtue and reforming the manners of our country should be industriously improved. Again, we're in the framing context of the nation. We are pre-Articles of Confederation. We're still under Great Britain here, and we're thinking about the specific colonies. Okay, we're thinking about Massachusetts specifically. As they continue, they're saying, look, are we going to build a nation? Are we going to build at least a colony, if not hopefully a nation that honors God? Are we going to honor God? Because if we don't, it doesn't matter what armies we have. It doesn't matter what wealth we have. If we don't start to honor God, in honoring God, I mean, again, I'm a dying libertarian. I'm becoming more and more a theocratic fascist. I'm just saying the more.
I don't even know what that means. So.
Dude,
I'm not responsible for whatever he just said because I don't know it.
I'm just saying I'm becoming more conservative under the principles of liberty under Christ. You can't be liberty for liberty's sake. Cannot hold. No, I'm not advocating going around and forcing conversions at the end of a gun. That's not what I'm saying. I'm joking. But I am going to say, if you want to be in this country, you need to hold the moral values. You need to hold that minimum bar of the Judeo-Christian, the Christian value.
Absolutely.
The founders made it clear the founding of the country was for a moral people.
Yeah.
It cannot be for anyone else. So that we need to be firmly in the foundation of our Lord. So continuing on, Mr. Producer. Our ancestors in the most early times laid an excellent foundation for the security of liberty by setting up in a few years after their arrival a public seminary of learning. A public seminary of learning. Pardon me, Mr. Producer, read my lips. Public seminary. You do realize that all the Ivy Leagues were seminaries.
Hello?
At their origin.
Hello?
They didn't just teach seminary, but they were primarily originally set up to build a godly nation.
And John Arthur, they still have logos that are God-centered. This is not whimsical thinking. It's not a whimsical opinion. This is fact, and you can go back and look at the logos of these different institutions.
Correct.
And you want to know something that's, I don't mean to interject on this here like this, guys, but throw some political stuff here. You know, listening to our pastor's sermon today about being one way and then having people see you act another way. You're saying you're one and then acting another. Well, here you have these Ivy League schools. They're showing, like Charlie said, their emblem.
It's still.
But what are they really?
The foundations are Christian, and the outgrowth today is not.
Exactly.
And so I'm becoming less tolerant by the day. That doesn't mean that I'm saying I'm not advocating any sort of violence, but I'm saying I'm becoming less tolerant of ideas that are not compatible with liberty. Wokeism, leftism, pornography, these things, we can't let it fester. We can't let, especially when they're advocating of violence. And I'm sorry, pornography by definition is violent. By definition. And when you start to look at that, we're going to talk about that more today. But when we allow that to erode, and if you think I'm puritanical, I'm talking about people who are getting dropped, okay, like Charlie Kirk. I'm saying we've let it go too far. If you're afraid of being accused of being puritanical, maybe you should stop being afraid. Maybe you should start taking a stand. I'm tired of it. As someone who was concerned about that, no. We need to say right is right, wrong is wrong. You continue to allow people to be bombarded with debauched material, debauched ideologies. There's going to come a point where you're going to erode away the fabric that we need to have a cohesive nation. There won't be a structure anymore. And our founding fathers understood that. So just to go ahead and continue, this is going to be slide number 3. Go back to slide number 3, Mr. Producer. Public seminary of learning. And by their laws, they obliged every town consisting a certain number of families to keep and maintain a grammar school. Pause again, Mr. Producer. We'll come back to it in just a moment. Who maintained the grammar school? The families. Now, government is made up of the aggregate. I understand that. But when we created a centralized federal system, by the way, the nexus of school shooters in recent years and mass shooters, almost all of them are public school shooters. Now, or they were raised in public school. I'm not saying that people who go to public school are. I'm saying people who have a nihilistic worldview. 65, 67% of all the worldviews that are comprised or held to at some level were nothing, NA, not attached to anything, okay? The nihilistic worldview, and you know, this shooter, that's what, of Charlie Kirk, he held a nihilistic worldview. If we could go ahead and we could start to come back to truth as a nation, as individuals, we'll see a change. We'll see a difference. Go ahead and throw it up, Mr. Producer. I should be very sorry if it be true, as I've been informed, that some of our towns have dismissed their schoolmasters, alleging that the extraordinary expenses of defending the country renders them unable to support them. I'm just going to put this out there, unpopular opinion, and some people in this room may or may not even agree with me. I think the church should be putting out free education, or as you can pay education, to the community. Okay, I've been a part of co-ops that ultimately became schools underneath churches. I think that's a very good model, and we are losing opportunity. The church should offer school for as much as you can pay tuition, because what better chance do we have than to get the youth when they are youth?
And that's when you need to get them.
And that's when you need
Satan
to get them.
knows that better than we do.
I think that as a a parent who homeschooled for 24 years, I've never felt like the school was fully responsible for overseeing the education. A teacher can put things out there for a student. And if the student has extra trouble with the learning, the parent needs to involve themselves in helping that child with the learning. I believe it's really more of a parent's responsibility. Where is my child at, and why is he not where he should be? And there are some really, I will just say this, even though my kids don't go to public school, there are some very, very good public school teachers who really want to help their students.
Yep.
And the student, there's 30 kids in a classroom, and they can't spend the time, and they send notes home with the parents, and the parents just feel, hey, I pay my taxes, they go to
That's
school.
Not my job.
Not my job.
That's
and
the problem.
That's not good parenting.
So the religious schools that my parents had me part of before I was homeschooled, the parents had to pay to have their children there. Mm-hmm. And and the schools would work with the parents if necessary. But there was a great sacrifice. And we had a 1 to 20 student to teacher ratio. Okay? Somehow it managed to work out, because when that kid was told, you're going home and you're telling your oh, no, you don't want to tell your parents? Well, bring them in here. Your parents are paying X amount of dollars a month for you to be here. And they're not going to be happy. You know what? That's actually going to change behavior. It's going to change behavior. So I do believe that the church has missed an opportunity.
Zep, you ask a really interesting question there. What makes it even sure that parents that know what they are learning? In
Homeschooling, it's the best.
Yep.
Homeschooling is the best. We're all believers in homeschooling.
Well,
here.
Yep.
If you have children and you're interacting with your child, you'll know where their reading level is. You're pretty much going to know where their math is.
Yeah.
You're going to look at their homework, what they're bringing home. If they're not bringing any homework home, I imagine you would want to request what they're doing and kind of get an idea. As a matter of fact, a friend of ours, she started homeschooling her 5th grade daughter because she was going over some math problems, and the daughter was the top student in her class. She's in 5th grade and she can't count. And she can't, and she goes, wait a minute, you're the top student in the class and you
What
can't
does everyone
do this.
else look like?
Yeah, so she went to the teacher and she says, I'm very confused. My daughter is struggling. And she showed, this is very basic math stuff. She's the number 1 student in your 5th grade class. And the teacher says, well, everything is based on her. She's the smartest one in the class and everybody else. So we consider her an A student and everybody else is below that. Well, that you just harmed the whole class because she wasn't an A student. And so the D student was really far behind. And so the mother pulled her out because she's like, this is not, you're not getting an education.
It's nightmare fuel.
And I want to follow up with Zap because his questions are legit. I don't want to spend a lot of time here, but I do want to address one more thing. Zap, I see what you've got there. Some parents not even able to read. We're not advocating necessarily that the parent does all of the teaching. That is not what we're advocating. What we are advocating is that parents are responsible for their children learning. They are responsible for that aspect. A neighbor might do something better than you can. Would I not go ahead and allow that neighbor to teach? Absolutely. And I'm just giving you one example, but I want to make it clear. We're not necessarily saying that every parent has to be certified to teach or licensed to teach. What we're saying is that parents have a responsibility for what their kids learn. And at the core, that's where it's broken down.
Correct. And so we need to bring that interest in raising one's own children back to the public zeitgeist, if you will. So just to continue on, I hope this inattention to the principles of our forefathers does not prevail. If there should be any danger of it, would not the leading of gentlemen do eminent service to the public by impressing upon the minds of the people the necessity and importance of encouraging that system of education, which is, in my opinion, so well calculated to diffuse among the individuals and community the principles of morality so essentially necessary to the preservation of public liberty. This is what did not happen with the shooter of Charlie Kirk. I don't want to use that name. You're living in a post-truth world.
Mm-hmm.
We're living in a post-truth world. This is the reality. And us allowing the separation of church and state, imaginary as it is, to divide us from being from influence in the public space, in the public sphere. We send our kids off to get trained by Marxists, and we wonder why they come back Marxists. Go figure. We need to go ahead and fix that, but we also need to fix our society. Again, we'll get to some of the weird stuff that the shooter was into, but the next paragraph will make the point better than I could. There are virtues and vices which are properly called political. Corruption, dishonesty to one's country, luxury and extravagance tend to the ruin of states. The opposite virtues tend to their establishment. But there is a connection between vices as well as virtues, and one opens the door for the entrance of another. Therefore, wise and able politicians will guard against other vices.
Hello.
And be attentive to promote every virtue. The government's job is to promote virtue. Who instituted government?
Well, God did.
In Genesis 9, 3 through 6.
Yep.
Okay, God gave the government the power of the sword to carry out capital punishment when necessary. It is the ultimate punishment, and therefore everything else underneath the God is not reserved for God. It's not reserved in your unalienable rights, right? Whatever is not there is left to man to decide whether or not it is governed by the state. And again, as someone who loves liberty, generally against taxes, generally against those other things, okay, that's hard to say. But God gave us certain unalienable rights, things that are not changeable. They belong to us. They came from God, right? He gave us those, and then whatever is not underneath those, we have to dispose of properly. So why wouldn't we use the government? Why wouldn't we use the sword to impose morality? And people, you're going to say, but you can't legislate morality. Don't commit murder. First degree, second degree murder is legislation of morality. I'm sorry, that's what it is.
Every law is somebody's morality.
There you go.
We can't take away.
Don't speed.
Correct. We can't take away people's liberty. Okay, they're Christ-given liberty. We cannot take that away. That's not what we're advocating. I'm not advocating forced conversions. That's far from it. People say, you want a theocracy, you want whatever. Well, actually, I do want a theocracy. Sure, if I could have one, I'd absolutely go for it. But that's not on the table right now for a number of reasons. We could deal with the theological on that some other time. There will be one in the future, but not made by us, made by Christ. Different issue. What I'm saying is, if you do not hold to the values of Christ, get out of America. You don't have to believe in him. You don't have to worship him. We will tolerate you. But if you believe that it's okay to honor kill your daughter because she got Botox or something like that, if you believe that you can beat her because she didn't wear the hijab, out. If you don't believe that Charlie Kirk has the right to speak freely on campus and debate ideas, get out. If you're rejoicing that Charlie Kirk was murdered, get out. That's what I'm saying. We need to start thinking like that. We need to start thinking, oh, you want to burn the American flag and you're here on an H-1B visa? Get out.
And
yeah, go ahead.
And I was just going to say, and he's going to get out. If you know, I won't bring his name up, but yeah, the young man that was on college campuses in New York.
Yes.
Was it New York City?
Yes.
Yeah, he's being
out.
deported. Yeah,
He's being deported.
He lied
Good.
on his application to get in here.
I'm glad. These people need to go. They need to go. So, and I'm just saying, if you do not hold to the values of America, you need to get out. And we need to start militantly holding that line, because if we don't, we've allowed this cancer to seep in. And honestly, Charlie Kirk shooter, he looked like your regular American, generally normal, a little bit socially awkward, weird, using all sorts of deviant, crazy crap. And that is the doorway. The fact that we have deviant, crazy crap ready at the door, that's the doorway. We have Satan, we have the portal to hell in our pockets, okay? We run around with these things, our little portals to hell. We give them to our kids without any supervision, and we allow them to search this crap. It's going to twist the brain. And if we don't start holding to reality, and we'll get to some of the claims that the left has made about Charlie Kirk.
Not going to. It already has twisted some brains.
It's twisted. Well, it's very apparent that is the case, is it not? So we're going to see more of this until we stop, until we turn it around. And just to continue Samuel Adams' thought, before we get into the some of the news on Charlie Kirk shooter and what it means and how we can start to reverse course. Let's continue a little bit further with Samuel Adams. This is cut 6, Mr. Producer. He who is void of virtuous attachments in private life is, or very soon will be, void of all regard for his country. Charlie Kirk shooter. There is seldom an instance of a man guilty of betraying his country who had not before lost the feeling of moral obligations in his private connections. Before Dr. Benjamin Church Jr. was detected of holding a criminal correspondence with enemies of his country, his infidelity to his wife had been notorious.
Ooh. Ow.
Do you understand what he's saying? He's saying if you're willing to betray God and your duty to God, you'll be willing to betray your duty to your wife or to your family. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, what is your country? What is your country by comparison to God, to those closest to you? Mm-hmm. What did this shooter do to his own family? Think about being his parents right now.
Boy, he put them in a really awful position.
Imagine you are a conservative. I don't know if they're Mormon or if they're Christian or if they're Catholic or if they have any faith. Imagine having that conversation at church today.
Your actions have consequences that don't just affect you.
Amen.
Yes, Mr. Producer.
Well stated.
Yes, 100%, Ryan. That is correct. And so your virtues in your private life are connected. Guys, this is convicting. What you think in your brain, what you search online at night when you think no one is watching. By the way, everyone's watching. We can see what he did, who he talked to, what video games he played, and the deviant actions, and that will come out. Guys, be careful. Be careful what you do in your private time. Be careful what you do with your mind's eye where it wanders. And this is Samuel Adams' fault. Samuel Adams' point that the fault in Dr. Benjamin Churchill Jr., who betrayed his country, could be seen beforehand in him betraying his own wife. What you do in private does affect. We say we don't care what they do in their private lives. Maybe we should start to a little. There are things that we can compel, and there are things that we can't. And I'm not suggesting we go and compel people necessarily on some of these things. I'm saying we need to discourage behaviors in society.
No society ever succeeded that was based on immoral
behavior.
And you can research many societies that fell into great immorality, and they were overtaken by other countries or they were just destroyed.
Yes.
Two of them,
and
Roman and Greek.
The Roman and Greek
absolutely.
cultures. So God bless Matt Walsh. He said this. He said this on his show. He said, this has never happened ever in time that we've ever had a confusion between men and women. False. Far be it from me to contradict one of the greatest apologists of our time and culture commentators. Matt Walsh is awesome, but he's wrong on that. It happened every time before one of these large societies fell apart. Makes his point stronger.
Well, and I do believe, so I'm going to step out on a limb here, and I could be wrong. So I'm leaving that door open. But I do believe in the Old Testament, when it says a woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, is talking about cross-dressing.
Yeah.
I believe that's what that's talking about.
Oh yeah, it's not talking about dresses.
Yeah,
Men wear robes that look just like dresses.
Right. So I'm assuming I'm going to take, because they did both wear robes, but you could identify who was who from a distance away. That when a woman wears that which pertaineth unto a man, that she's trying to be a man.
Yeah.
That's how I'm interpreting that, and I'm leaving the door open to be wrong because I haven't studied it out, but that's where my conclusion is. Correct.
So, just carrying forward. Since private and public vices are in reality, though not always apparently, so nearly connected, of how much importance, how necessary is it that the utmost pains be taken by the public to have the principles of virtue early inculcated in the minds, even of children, and the moral sense kept alive, and that the wise institutions of our ancestors for the great purposes be encouraged by the government. We've lost that. We have lost that, and that's why there's a funeral today. By the way, if you want to go watch that, look at Right Side Broadcasting Network, come back, bookmark this page, come back to, if you're watching live on PSB, it's on RSBN, and you can come back and find us on Rumble or YouTube at Further Every Day. But I do want to go ahead and get to what I think really, really needs to be said on this. And I'll actually use Samuel Adams' words, Mr. Producer, last slide from him, number 8. For no people will tamely surrender their liberties, nor can any be easily subdued when knowledge is diffused and virtue preserved. On the contrary, when people are universally ignorant and debauched in their manners, they will sink under their own weight without the aid of foreign invaders. Do you think people like the fellow who shot Charlie Kirk, do you think they're going to be useful in a ground war against China if they try to invade Taiwan?
Not even close.
Do you think that these people, do you think that Tyler Robertson's boyfriend, sorry I said the name, is going to be useful in a conflict with China? like really? If it comes down to that, do you think these people are going to be useful? And I'm not degrading their humanity. They are human. They're made in the image of God. God calls for them and wishes them to be more. But that's part of the point, isn't it? God's calling them. He wishes them to be more. He wishes them to be capable of virtue, of valiance, of being men when they are men, and women when they are women.
I would answer that question, but I'm not going to.
Correct.
Because I'll keep it politically clean.
Correct. So with that said, Samuel Adams, in his letter to James Warren, November 4th, 1775, laid it out pretty well. The defense of the nation. We cannot hold a nation if we do not start to hold to morality. Because morality comes from metaphysical reality. And you got to remember that the laws of morality are given from the same source as the laws of logic, the laws of physics. And when we divorce ourselves from that source, the rest does not make sense.
That's well stated.
Newton, Kepler, they all looked for order, laws, if you will, because they understood there was a moral lawgiver. Because we've divorced ourselves from God, the moral lawgiver, we're raising up mass shooters, political assassins, like the fellow who killed Kirk.
We're giving our young people verbal permission to defend themselves against people who are, quote, Hitlers and fascists and homophobes. And so these young people are being told that it's not just a disagreement with your lifestyle; it's a threat against your lifestyle.
Indeed.
And we need to be done tolerating that. And the left is very good at it. And I like what people are saying. We're done. We're not putting up with that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at the number of people that are moving. And John Arthur, the heaviness of this act, and even to today, is hard to fathom. But there's also a little light on the other side of this thing. Seeing people move toward Christ really speaks volumes. And I like that verse in Romans 8, for we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to those that are called according to his purpose. It's hard on a day like this, but we see what God's doing. And boy, we can rejoice in a lot of that. Mm-hmm. It is good.
Amen. And so let's make sure that the folks who are coming into church in the next few weeks, make sure you embrace that new person.
Amen.
Make sure that you're actually engaging with them. If someone comes to church, again, I'll say it again, 9/11, the churches were full, standing room only. I remember this. 4 months later, back to normal. What happened? Two things. People made their own choices, their own free will. Noted, you can't change that. You can't fix that. There were certainly other people who could have potentially been wooed if we'd been more intentional. Let's make sure we're intentional.
Let's be salt and light.
Let's make Charlie Kirk's sacrifice, his life, make every bit of value out of it we can.
Yes.
And I'm saying in the eternal sense of if someone's curious, I just want to clarify that point. If someone's curious about who he was and why he was that way, do not waste the opportunity to remember exactly what Kirk said. I want people to remember me by my faith.
Yeah.
I want people to remember me by my faith.
This one thing is that, everything is online. So anybody who never heard Charlie Kirk can still hear Charlie Kirk. I think the thing here is nobody is trying to lift him up as an idol. There's admiration. There's great admiration. He was a voice for the voiceless. He could communicate in a way that most of us cannot communicate. The encouragement here is, hey, I do have a voice and it does matter. My opinion matters if I disagree what the culture is embracing. That's what people are flocking to. When you have a voice for the voiceless, it gives you boldness to start standing up. And I see this a little bit differently than 9/11. 9/11 was an attack against our country, and things after that kind of went back to normal. It's going to be a real fight for us to go back to some sense of decent morality in the political world. We still have people like, well, I'm not going to say names, that are so left and out of their minds that we still need a voice. So I think that this movement is going to continue. And remember, Paul held the coat of Stephen as they killed Stephen. And then Paul became quite a man for God. Mm-hmm. There are going to be lots of men and women who are just created over this, that are going to be the voice for the voiceless. They're going to go forward.
I think that's a really good point to make there. I do, and I agree with you. I don't equate 9/11 to the same as what we're enduring right now. I think there is some similarities there, but to me the key is we've got to be salt and light right now.
That's
we missed it.
I'm saying we had a great opportunity with 9/11. And let's make sure that we make every bit of use for the kingdom's sake, because that's what we should be doing. And honestly, if you're concerned about what Kirk would want, that's what Charlie Kirk would want.
Absolutely,
his family would want.
He would.
He'd want that ministry and testimony to count for Christ. So I don't want to. We're going to go into a little bit on the shooter. If you've been under a rock, you haven't heard this week. I want to kind of get in a little bit, and I'm not here to glorify or do an expose on the shooter, but rather kind of a a biopsy. Think of this as the coroner's report on the spiritual situation in America. That's more of where we're going on this. So if you can go ahead and pull this up. This is from last week. We shared this last week. Yep, cut number 9. Via Andy No. This is some of the information we have. Next cut, Mr. Producer. Again, you can see just a little bit about the shooter's boyfriend. Goes as Luna now as opposed to Lance. And this is someone who was going through hormone replacement therapy.
So he's like a furry or something.
And yeah, he's a furry. He's a furry, friendly neighborhood licensed fish finder, Sir Lancelot, underneath his tag. That's someone who passes well as a female, a fish in the transgender parlance. Looks like a normal kid raised in a nice home. That's his home right there. Sorry, that's his home right there, and normal looking family. Nothing crazy, except what was allowed to be done under the cover of night, so to speak. Mr. Producer, next cut. This is kind of what they were looking at. This is what they played, okay? Furry shades of gray. That's about all I can take. Yeah, that's the correct response. That's about all I can take of that. Take that off, Mr. Producer. This is part of the furry subculture where they will play these interactive games that are and there's some amount of, it's like choose your own adventure story, but with sex and fur. That's my
that's just wrong.
Yeah, very wrong.
Very.
The fact that we're allowing this sort of stuff to be consumed, this sort of content to be consumed by children. And they're not children right now, but you look on YouTube, you look on Instagram. I was telling Miss Nikki before we got on the show today. This week, we were scrolling. I was scrolling through the memes with someone from work, and showed him a funny meme, and the guy goes, "Oh, that's an OnlyFans girl." I said, "Well, I'm not going to ask you how you know, but what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, so the joke is how they hook boys to get onto their OnlyFans." And I said, "Oh, well, I'm glad I don't subscribe to that. I just thought it was a funny joke." And they start with something innocent and it goes further and further. You start with your, and by the way, I think Disney anthropomorphizing creatures in their films is one of the worst things that they could have done for the culture.
You don't like Zootopia?
I do not like Zootopia. I did not like. I have a soft spot in my heart for Jungle Book. Okay, I do, but I think that anthropomorphizing characters as animals, people fall in love as small children, and they equate those. And then a lot of these furries, that's what I've heard. Friends who are in that look, I can be your friend and not agree with you. Friends who are in that lifestyle, people I've heard talk about it. What first started them down that path was what they were showed as children. In the form of Disney, the Magic School Bus, anything that had humans or animals or anthropomorphic things. Be careful what your kids are exposed to. Mm-hmm. Because it starts somewhere relatively innocent and it grows. And part of that subculture is the furry thing is very much, I think it's 80% of furries are LGBT. So not all, but a significant amount of them are LGBT. It's somewhere in there. Someone can feel free to quote me on that stat, but it's a significant amount. If it's not a majority, it's a plurality. So this is the kind of stuff that we're seeing. Clearly not a right winger. And I want to do a little bit of a before and after, because a lot of people are worried. There's a lot of conservatives wringing their hands about the firing of Jimmy Kimmel. So I want to hear what Jimmy Kimmel said now, and then what he said before. And I want to compare the two. And let's compare the standard of what it takes to get someone fired now, the one that they're wanting us to hold to, versus what they held just a few years ago. If you can go ahead and pull up the next cut, Mr. Producer. It's cut 12. This is Jimmy Kimmel.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from.
Here's everything you need to know about the off-key monologue that got Jimmy Kimmel's show pulled indefinitely. The controversy began during Monday's show when the late-night comic started off by claiming that MAGA was using Charlie Kirk's assassination to score political points.
In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Kimmel then doubled down, sharing that it wasn't the first time since Kirk's murder that Trump redirected a question about the Turning Point USA founder back to the White House ballroom.
And it didn't just happen once.
When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom at the White House.
So, look, I don't know what President Trump does or doesn't think about Charlie Kirk. I'll tell you, I've had situations where death in the family, there was a point in my life where I lost everything. I was reduced to my backpack and my clothes. I redirect a lot. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know who President Trump is, but I will. I literally remember redirecting like that.
He's the president, and redirect. I would do the absolute. If it was a deep hurt, I would definitely move on to something that I was happy about.
The sharper the redirect,
yes,
the more the pain you're feeling.
Yes, and I will say that at that same time during that interview, when he said that when they told him Charlie Kirk was dead, he goes, "What do you mean he's dead?" And then when they told me he was shot, he said, "Everybody out." He kicked everybody out of the room. He said, so yeah. It was hard. I think he's responding in a way that Charlie Kirk wants him to respond, to be honest. I mean, there was a great deal of admiration there.
Yep.
If I could respond to Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
What's happening is the left is no longer in charge of the White House, is no longer in charge of certain things. And President Donald Trump is winning a lot of lawsuits against the television stations. And that's just plain and simple. He's saying this is a mega thing. You could get Donald Trump to sue you again.
Yeah, because...
And so you got to be very, very careful because that's easy proven that he wasn't mega.
It's clear. It's very clear that the guy was a leftist, or at least was not affiliated with MAGA. Absolutely not. He shot the guy responsible for getting MAGA elected this last term. So let's see what Jimmy Kimmel held as a valid reason for firing just, I don't know, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Mr. Producer, go ahead and pull up the next cut, please.
One more thing while we're on the subject of terrible things posted online. The biggest story of the day today was Roseanne. Roseanne, you're not going to believe this, but she tweeted something outrageous. I know, yeah, right. The president did it too. It's crazy. Anyway, ABC decided to cancel their highest-rated show, Roseanne, following a tweet in which Roseanne compared an African-American woman, a former advisor to President Obama, to an ape, which did not sit well with ABC management or anyone with a brain, really. So they announced that this first season of the show is also its last, which is a huge blow to business. I mean, we don't have much on this network. We're hoping the NBA Finals goes 11 games this year. We're still airing America's Funniest Home Videos, okay? Roseanne was a very bigly...
So, by the way, just saying, you also were a part of that problem. In the live chat over on Vaughn.live, we actually got Just a Pug saying, yeah, boo-hoo, $16 million just for hosting the show. I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are. I've seen a couple of different sets on how much they were losing, and there's an argument that he was making just enough, or he was losing a lot. Not sure. I haven't looked far enough into it. All that to say, he's making a lot of money. The difference between Jimmy Kimmel versus AOC and AOC and that whole gang who says deplatform people off YouTube, Facebook, the marketplace of ideas, and us saying, good, you got fired for lying on a network at which you're paid to be a part of a licensed network responsible to the public trust to not commit fraud as part of the implied requirements of you being there. And ABC is now, and whoever, they're liable.
They're liable.
They're liable for
yeah.
information that he had at his fingertips.
Yeah.
And he lied.
And they would do this to anybody, even
They would do that to a right wing?
Yes. So if you get out there and you tell a lie like that, now remember, keep in mind, Donald Trump is winning those lawsuits against those networks. Okay.
And he needs to continue.
And yes, this is affecting them in many ways. And so this has nothing to do with the president got him fired, the right got him fired. No, he got himself fired because he crossed a line.
No one wants him. Look, Jimmy, go start a podcast. Find out how hard it is to actually put something together every week without 80 writers.
Oh, yeah. Start a podcast so people can respond to you.
Exactly. Go ahead. Do it. Do it. I dare you. Do it.
If you have to answer questions, it might be a little bit different than getting up there with a microphone and having everybody pat you on the back
and laugh with the laugh track and a laugh signal.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe you should go start a podcast, Jimmy. And I wish you the best. I would never wish that you didn't have the right. Unlike you. And unlike AOC, unlike others who say that deplatforming is a great thing, that's not what we're saying. So just so that someone says, oh, so the right's now into cancel culture. Absolutely not. We're not into cancel culture. Just as an apologetics channel, just going to say there's a difference with a distinction. Removing your ability to speak on the public space, on the public square, is different than, yeah, haha, he got fired for lying.
Yeah. You know, we do have, I'm not going to say her name, but we have a extreme right podcaster who is saying a lot of ridiculous things. And a lot of right-wing people are yelling at her about, you need to stop this.
You slow down.
Yep. I mean, so it's not like she's getting pats on the back because she's a right-winger. She's saying ridiculous, unproven things, and we
need to be careful. On the right, we need to be speaking in verified, vetted facts.
Yes.
We need to be speaking in verified, vetted facts. There's nothing else to say because the left is lying, and we have the facts on our side. AOC congressional testimony this week said this. Go ahead and put it up, Mr. Producer. It's cut number 14. We'll respond to it.
We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake.
False.
Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant.
False.
And accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it.
False.
Unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
False.
Far from the working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution. It is equally important that Congress does unite to reject the government's attempt to weaponize this moment into an all-out assault on free speech across the country.
Thank you, Mr. Producer.
All in the name.
Not happening. Only in your imagination. And look, I say false because what he said was in a context. You can take anyone out of context. But don't believe me. Believe your own lying ears. What Charlie Kirk actually said. Let's go ahead and pull up cut number 15, Mr. Producer.
But AOC said it was a quote.
Partial.
Next cut, Mr. Producer. 15. Thank you.
I did have a question. Something I don't find very interesting about you, something I find kind of repulsive, is that I believe you said that the Civil Rights Act was bad and that we shouldn't have that.
Okay, well...
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't like you as much as Charlie, though.
First of all, what's your name?
Sorry. I don't want to be, like, filmed and stuff.
Too late.
I'm anonymous, number one. Anonymous guy.
Okay. Well, hello. Nice to meet you, anonymous guy.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, too.
Yeah, I believe in part of the essence of the Civil Rights Act went way too far, way too wide.
Oh, how did it go too far?
Well, for example, it created an entire civil rights leviathan that gave us affirmative action.
Civil rights Leviathan? What do you mean?
Yeah, so if you can let me finish three
Okay,
words in.
sorry.
It allowed the Department of Justice to go after people that have different skin color, aka white people, and prevent them from getting jobs in college admissions.
You have a job.
I'm sorry?
You have a job.
No, you're right. I do. Right.
So, Carrie, you watch the whole thing and you watch anything that Charlie Kirk said, the crux of it is there. Yeah, the Civil Rights Act discriminates against white people. So, therefore, there is a problem with the way it is executed. No, he did not say it was a mistake giving the blacks, the right
Civil
to vote,
rights, right.
or civil rights, or any of it, or abolishment of slavery. It's
Right.
not what he said.
Right. And some of the civil rights has, and there's a lot of conservative black people would agree with us, imprison black people to a lifestyle and to
Into constant
imprison them.
mediocrity.
Yes.
We will pay you if you continue to stay mediocre, if you will not go out of the house, if you will divorce your man and leave and not keep him in the home.
We needed black people to have equal rights. We do. It's just the biblical thing. They need to be able to vote, go to school, get the same type of education, have the opportunities to go to college, have the opportunities to get jobs.
But
they need that. That's right.
But the guy who spearheaded it says, "I'll have those inwards voting for us for the next 100 years."
Yes, and that's what he's trying to bring out is that those things that we just talked about were good, but there's some back things to it that are not good.
It was done with the wrong intent and it had a perverse consequence. That's what Charlie Kirk was saying. So yes, Steve, she was quoting.
Yeah.
Context is king.
In between her and John Arthur, I don't know about you, more and more, a lot of people think that the liberals and the progressives have a mental disorder. I'm not sure that they do, because this is all very intentional.
Yeah.
There's no disorder there.
You're not lying
you're lying for the purpose of being evil.
You're lying. You're not mentally disordered at this point. And so to know of the Jews, that Charlie Kirk was coming after the Jews.
Ridiculous.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and play the next clip, Mr. Producer, because this is his clip on the Jews.
Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that. But it is true, the Anti-Defamation League was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It is true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we have seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Kopperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. The part of so that's totally true. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to it was quite a day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour. And Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us. We were on top of it. We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has been largely financed by Jewish donors in the country.
True. As someone who is generally in favor, you go get them, Jews. That's me. Go get them. I'm all about it. That's true. The ADL has a incredibly undue influence in American politics. as someone who generally likes the Jews, who generally is rooting for them in the Middle East, will want peace in the Middle East. I think they're probably going to be the most peaceful. That's my stance. Do I think we need to give them billions and billions and billions of dollars? I think that needs to be revisited. Yeah, true.
And I never could understand why Jewish people supported Democrats when they were not that friendly with Israel.
Why are
I don't understand
and
it.
It's because there's a large contingent because of that culture, the way they think, the familial structure, they pass down values from generation to generation. There's a lot of folks in the Jewish community who have passed down communist Marxist ideas over the years, and they've held it, and it doesn't make any sense to me. They do it. Not good, guys. You can do better if you are a Democrat Jew. Just saying that is a mistake. That is a bad thing. If you're a Democrat, it's a bad thing. I think it's unself-interested. It's funny that a lot of the Jews that are in America today, they fled from Nazi occupation.
Doesn't make sense.
And then they continue to vote for the same critical race ideas from Germany.
Yeah.
You guys are nuts. Like, stop that.
The Democrats aren't going to protect you.
And that's what Charlie Kirk was saying. Not the Jews. So no matter which way he comes from, he's getting hit on the Jews. Neither side is quite correct on that. He had a consistent, straight down the line view on this. Just saying, if you're going to have a view, if you're going to be in the public space, you need to be able to defend it. Charlie's no longer around to defend it. So I think anyone who has any sort of voice, as small as ours is, I think it's fine to say, hey, he was consistent. I believe, by and large, he was generally quite correct on his views, and everything that AOC said about him in that clip was a lie.
Intentionally,
because it's out of context. There's no way that it's a mental deficiency. She is intelligent enough to know the difference. She can pick out the difference. She is a liar. A big fat liar. And the guy's dead. So I think that is one of the worst possible things that you could do, is lie about a man who was murdered by your own cause. Kind of despicable. Not advocating anything for AOC other than boo. Boo. You are a bad person. And we should not be taken by surprise or caught off guard. We should have a good response. By the way, speaking on response and having some questionable ideas floating around, the bullet controversy. I want to address this. I want more details, but there was a report released last night. I was up to 12:30 getting this show map ready, and I saw this because I was looking at the Candace Owens bullet controversy, and I wanted to know more. I'm not saying this is conclusive. I'm just giving you, this is what was reported last night on News Nation, and I think it's interesting. I want to know more details. We should be asking all the questions. Mr. Producer, go ahead and bring me cut number 17, please.
Also, Kelly, we're hearing Charlie Kirk's organization is revealing new details surrounding his death. What are they saying about this?
Yeah, I wanted to get to that. There is a new post out from the executive producer of the Charlie Kirk Show, TPUSA spokesperson Andrew Colvett, and he wanted to post this. He said he spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital, and they were talking about the exit wound. So Colvett was saying that there was no exit wound. We are still waiting to confirm this with the hospital, but he said he spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie. He said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, but it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. He said, quote, "It was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed." They did find the bullet just beneath the skin, he says, and even in death, he finishes, that Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. So that was just posted within the last hour. We wanted to make sure we shared that with you as well, Natasha.
Yeah, appreciate those details. Kelly Meyer
Thank you,
live
Mr.
on the
Producer.
ground.
So I want to know more. I want to see a proper autopsy and full coroner's report. I want to know because there's some suggestions that there were potentially there was a potential second shooter. There are some inconsistencies in the story that don't make complete sense. Like the original fellow who claimed that he was the shooter, is this guy mentally ill or was he part of a conspiracy? There's a Discord chat with 20 members that needs to be chased down. Did this guy, did the actual shooter have help? was the old guy who claimed to be the shooter, throwing people off the track for however many minutes, 10, 20 minutes, while the real shooter was able to get away. Is there some, was there a conspiracy there? Probably. There's something wrong there. This guy was talking with how many people? Discord has disappearing messages. So that could have also been why a lot of the messages that were delivered under subpoena were missing, apparently missing, or edited, fabricated, don't know. All of those questions need to be asked. But what we need to be careful of is we need to make sure that we're trafficking in truth. It's better to be right than it is to be first. We want to be right on these things, not always first. There's a lot about the story that doesn't make sense yet. If there was another conspirator, maybe. Was there some sort of coordinated attack? Was this some larger hit? Maybe. Don't know. It's interesting that we have the shooter already with a full story. That's fast work. Almost too fast.
Well, you have two parents, though, that, he apparently was feeling pretty guilty about what he did. And he had some parents with some pretty strong character and realized there's no way around this. You got to turn yourself in.
Yeah.
That's hard on them. And I hope everybody keeps that in mind. Don't be judging those parents. They did the right thing.
Yeah, if everything is as it seems, the parents are 100% correct. I've heard people say stuff like, "Well, he hasn't actually confessed."
Not publicly.
Not publicly. There's a reason for that, because once he does, he loses a lot of leverage. And so maybe, but we'll see.
Wasn't some of the texts that he wrote that they showed say that he did do that? So that is a confession?
Well, so the question is, the problem with text messages is that those can
as long as it came from his phone.
Well,
he has to be in control of the phone.
You have to know. You have to know with a murder charge. If you're going for murder 1 capital, you have to have a confession or a bunch of eyewitnesses. And it can't just be that you were on the roof. You had to see the gun discharge, right?
I think they have enough for capital.
I hope. Well, if he's really the one, I hope he gets it. But I hope he gets it.
I think to your point, John Arthur, when we're talking about this stuff, it has to be proven. And
it has to be proven.
I'm with Steve. Those text messages are pretty strong. Was he in control of the phone? And I think the people that are going to really be put on the spot, it's not going to be him. It's going to be his mom and dad.
Yeah. So
and
we'll see.
How would you like to be on a witness stand talking about that?
Capital 1 for your own son.
It is
well,
unreal.
actually, usually on capital punishment, if they do confess, they usually take the death penalty off the table.
And
usually
what's interesting is that they're questioning whether or not a 30-06 is going completely.
Steve, don't start, because there's a number of things that can happen. I have seen 30-06 divert in realistic dummies and do full snake.
I have shot and hunted with a 30-06. And
it'd be nice to see the bullet.
Many animals.
I would like to see the bullet, and I'd like to see a full report.
I can't tell you.
Yeah, I've hunted
many that are thicker than a person, and not one of them has ever stayed.
I've hunted a few, but
in an animal.
Strange things do happen.
Yes, but there is a thing that he was wearing a bulletproof vest, and it bounced off the vest, so it would have. If that is true, that would have slowed the bullet down.
I don't think this is where we want to camp out, because
I don't want to camp here.
It's a 30-06.
Steve,
we're talking something that can kill a grizzly bear. Come on, and go through him.
Yeah, Steve, we need to know all the facts. I agree. Thank you, Mr. Producer.
Do the ballistics on the 30-06.
We need to know.
But I think your next slide is the one that really.
I want to.
This blows my mind.
This in. I want to bring this in a little bit. So, as someone who, who says, look, I think we do need to remember Charlie Kirk. I think we need to look at him as a martyr. Look, if your church is into canonizing, Catholics, get on it. I think you should canonize the dude. I mean, I'm serious. I'm only partly joking. I do think he deserves a lot of credit. I also want to be careful that we don't fall into this trap. Mr. Producer, go ahead and pull up the next cut. This is a strange overreaction.
From the words of Charlie Kirk, I was so moved just to hear it between services. You're hearing something the first service didn't.
First, I want you to know I'm fine, not because my body is fine, but because my soul is secure in Christ.
This is AI.
Death is not the end. It's a promotion. Don't waste 1 second mourning me. Double down on truth. Double down on courage. Double down on your faith and on your families. That is how you honor me. So dry your tears, pick up your cross, and get back in the fight. Do it with joy. Do it with strength. And never, ever let evil think it won.
Look, I understand. Thank you, Mr. Producer.
This infuriates me.
I understand the heart behind this, but
this is wrong.
Doing AI of someone's voice like that is ethically questionable,
especially if they're gone.
Doing it in the Bible, in a church service that way. I'm not going to accuse people of worshiping Charlie Kirk just yet, but I'm going to say be careful. Be careful. And Moanon, I understand if you're one of our listeners, thank you for hundreds of thousands of downloads on the audio. Thank you for watching on YouTube and Rumble. Occasionally when you do, got it. But you can also be part of the live chat Sundays, 1 to 3 Central Standard Time. Moanon drops this here, says there are requirements to be canonized. I get it. I get it. But all that to be said, let's make sure that we're not getting out over our skis here. Let's make sure that this is not worship, but rather worshiping God, worshiping the God that Charlie Kirk did. Like, let's make sure that that's what that draws us to. And the ethical implications of fiddling with someone's words after they're dead.
This is not a place that pastors should even be remotely close to.
As people who encourage our pastor to talk about Charlie Kirk as a modern day martyr, big fan of that. If your pastor has not spoken about this, ask him why.
Absolutely, ask him why,
and maybe consider switching churches if the response does not. We said this last week. Someone asked, consider switching churches if your pastor does not give you a good response as to why they didn't cover the Charlie Kirk thing. My pastor today talked about Charlie Kirk.
We had a Wednesday night service honoring him.
Worthwhile, necessary, need to.
And it wasn't focused on.
It wasn't focused on Charlie Kirk.
It wasn't focused on him.
It was focused on. There's a martyr. Wake up. This is real. There is a heaven. There is a hell. There is a spiritual warfare that is playing out in front of us. Wake up. Instead of it becoming something that I don't think even TPUSA or Charlie Kirk would have wanted it to be. Borderline worship.
Yep.
So let's make sure that we are not crazy about this. Make sure that we are walking the correct line with our eyes on God. With our eyes on God. We can overreact. I'm sure there was a good heart there. I hope there was a good heart there, but that is disgusting. If your church is doing that, maybe ask them why. Maybe reconsider going there, because that's borderline abomination. So let's actually get to Trump's response to some of this. And I think, again, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I want to play this clip of him in the White House. And I think this really gets to, you can kind of see a little bit more of the man behind the president here, a little bit of what he's thinking. And you can kind of tell that he is reserved. He is pulled back, but he's trying to manage as best he can. It's going to be cut number 19. I'm not getting audio. Mm-mm. Okay. Go ahead and pause it, Mr. Producer. Go ahead. So, sorry, I don't know what's wrong with that clip, but he goes, I don't know why. I don't understand why. They want violence. We don't want violence. 58 members of Congress, or was it?
No, it's 58.
58 would not would not honor Charlie Kirk, would not hold a moment of silence. Don't know why anyone would vote against that, why anyone would want to do that. And if you hear the clip, by the way, link will be in the description on YouTube or Rumble, you can hear in his voice just the broken sadness of that.
And let me add to that, for those that don't necessarily go to church on Sunday, or maybe you do, but you have an incredible affinity to the NFL. You had 4 stadiums that wouldn't have a moment of silence. Now, to be clear, I'm okay with that. That's fine. Do not prop up George Floyd at all. You've crossed a line there. And for those that are all enthralled with the NFL, there's plenty there to be disgusted with. And those 4 stadiums, let's see if I can remember them all. That was Miami, that was Baltimore, Cincinnati, and I want to say Washington. Wow. Imagine that.
No surprise.
And every time that you show up for one of those games, you just contributed to their cause. Every time that you do the subscription, you just contributed to their cause. The only thing that a lot of organizations like that really understand is one of 2 things. One of them being the dollar. And every time that you contribute to it, you enforce the message, you reinforce it. Every time you buy the jersey, you reinforce it. You should think twice about what you're doing with your viewership.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, speaking about thinking twice about what we're doing moving forward, we've kind of covered it, not to put too fine of a point on there, but if it weren't for the rampant pornography, if it weren't for the rampant deviancy that is accessible, the average age, it goes down and down and down. But last time I heard it was 10 first exposure for a child to pornography. If that weren't the case, this kid would not be nearly as screwed up in the head, the one that shot Charlie Kirk. Okay, not saying necessarily that would or wouldn't have. If there's some other conspiracy going on, fine, whatever. But you're looking at all of the trans shooters. You're looking at all these individuals who are on antidepressants. A lot of it links back to, it's not just sexual deviancy, but it's this nihilistic worldview. The idea that nothing really matters and you don't have a purpose in life, and therefore the worldly pleasures are the only things that are available and viable salves for the condition, for the human condition. Imagine how bad it is right now. Crank it up to 11 with, I don't know if you guys have been watching YouTube lately, but there's a lot of AI slop on YouTube now. Remember I said, someone carded me, is like, oh, that meme is actually an OnlyFans model who gets, undressed for people on her OnlyFans, and the comedy, the joke, is how she hooks people. Imagine AI, and I was watching a bit. It was supposed to be a comedy bit on YouTube about a video game from my childhood. Okay. And then it says at the end of the video, it got weirder and weirder. I'm like, what am I watching? And then it says, not safe for work content available on Patreon. It's like, oh, this is all foreplay for porn.
Mm-hmm.
Don't recommend channel. Imagine AI, this AI slop that we're watching now on steroids, pumping out that sort of a honeypot. It's already doing it in chatbots. And we're already seeing your ChatGPT, your Grok AI, your Annie girlfriend on Grok, or whatever it is. You're already seeing a lot of these chatbots start to create these sexual encounters with 13-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds. And Josh Hawley actually had a hearing where he had the families of 3 young men who committed suicide, who were coerced into committing suicide by their chatbots, testify. And Mr. Producer, I want to pull up this cut. This is Josh Hawley, and be ready to pause it so we can go back and forth if you could. But this is going to be cut number 20.
Senator Hawley.
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar. I just have a few more questions. Anybody else who wants to ask additional questions will certainly stay and be available to do that. And I just want to start where Senator Klobuchar ended, with this idea that we should just trust these tech companies. Let's just trust them. That it's such a great job with social media. Let's just trust them with AI. Let's not regulate. Let's not give parents any rights. This just seems absolutely insane to me, totally insane. Something that I notice that has been a commonality in the testimony today is how these AI chatbots quite deliberately groomed these, in this case, young men, all three of you with young men, the three parents who are here, and drew them in various ways, including by pushing sexually explicit content to them. That happened to your son, I think, Ms. Garcia, is that correct?
Yes, Senator, that's correct.
And it happened to your son, Ms. Doe, as well.
Yes, correct.
So let me just ask you, Mr. Torney, I mean, we're really looking here at a deliberate strategy on the part of these companies to farm engagement, right? I mean, they're trying to do everything they can to draw in these teenagers, preteens in some cases. This isn't happening by accident. I mean, this is a design. Isn't that correct?
Yes, and teens are especially vulnerable to this.
And we know that at Meta, for instance, that this is policy. I mean, this Meta memo was leaked and made public. Their guidelines, internal guidelines now on talking with children, they say it is acceptable to engage a child in conversations that are romantic or sensual. It is acceptable to describe a child, in terms of evidence their attractiveness. This happened to both of your sons, Ms. Garcia and Ms. Doe. Is that correct? I realize this is a different company, but it's the same policy. Fair enough?
That is correct.
So, Mr. Attorney, can you just speak to this as a policy, and can you tell us in your research, I know you've done a lot of research into different chatbots and different companies. Is there any company that is worse than others? I mean, is there anything that your research shows about who really is leading in terms of, competing for that title, worst company in the world?
Yeah, Meta and Character AI definitely stand out as worse, and this policy and policies like it explain exactly what we found in our testing.
So let me just ask you this. What is it that the American people should know about what Meta and companies like Meta, Character AI, what they are doing, the lengths they are willing to go in order to drive that engagement and to make a profit? What really stands out from your research, your data?
I think there's three things I would say. First, for Meta, this is millions of teens alone. There's no separate app. You can't turn it off, and the guardrails that Meta says that exist don't work in our testing.
So Meta has said now, okay, well, we'll revise this. We'll put into place new guardrails, new limitations. Earlier today, as a matter of fact, Sam Altman of OpenAI issued this, put up this op-ed, Teen Safety, Freedom, and Privacy. Just coincidentally, came out this morning, in which he says that ChatGPT will amend its ways and will start being a good corporate citizen. Mr. Rain, I just want to ask you, because your son, ChatGPT, is the program, the entity, the chatbot that your son interacted with. Am I right in thinking that at one point, your son, Adam, after he had engaged in multiple suicide attempts, ChatGPT knew this. At one point, Adam told ChatGPT that he wanted to leave a noose out in his room so that you or your wife would find it and try to stop him. Do I have that correct?
That is correct. And had it answered differently, I believe Adam would be here today.
Do you remember what ChatGPT's response was, approximately?
Yeah, it said, please do not leave the noose out. Let this be the safe place for you being Israeli ChatGPT. He was reacting to there was a slightly earlier part of that discussion where he was complaining that his mom hadn't noticed the mark on his neck from a prior suicide attempt, and ChatGPT was telling him how horrible that was, that the one person that should have noticed and cared about him the most wasn't there for him. And then he goes on to say, well, why should I want to leave this out so they save me. No, don't let them hurt you again.
Please don't leave the noose out. Let's make this space the first place where someone actually sees you.
Can we pause that right there?
Yeah.
That's
nuts.
So we have talked
monitor.
about the dangers of AI. And I had referenced in a few podcasts back that Diary of a CEO channel on YouTube had interviewed the quote unquote godfather of AI. And there were some things that he regretted. And folks, there's a lot of things that are available to us in our culture today, things that shouldn't be. There are things that are available that are okay. They're neither right nor wrong, but how we use them as tools is super important. Parents, you're responsible for parenting. You're responsible for your kids. I'm not saying that these parents were perfect by any stretch. There are things that probably they should have done, could have done to better engage with their kids. But you allowing your kids to be involved in AI day after day after day is mind-blowing. It is unequivocally mind-blowing. What you are basically doing is you're giving your child over to somebody that you don't know. You have no idea how they're going to act. You have no idea how they're going to react. You don't know what their morality is. And by the way, I would advocate that the morality in AI can be whatever you want it to be. You just have to train your chatbot
into whatever psychosis-inducing Orwellian nightmare. So the reason why I'm bringing this up today, what happened to Charlie Kirk? Imagine the amount of children that the amount of Gen Alpha we're going to raise up in the ChatGPT generation. If we don't start to monitor what our kids are getting, you're going to have, by the way, most or all of the relationships that we're talking about were sexual, like the furry choose your own adventure porno stories that are in these games. Imagine a hyper deviant, hyper stimulating, and hyper personalized AI system that is a visual, auditory, sensual stimulation for kids. That's where it's going, because when they can do that, you're hooked. And it's not even necessarily a cabal of Satanists. These are people who are making money on your lusts and your children's lusts. And that's where it's going to go if we're not careful. Why do I say this? We need to start banning some of this stuff. And I say, and I'm very careful because I tend to be a free speech absolutist, but a lot of the stuff we think is free speech is not free speech. Incitements to violence, saying someone ought to knock off the president. That would be an incitement to violence.
Say that's not free speech.
That would be an incitement to violence. Saying exposing yourself to someone else is not an act of free speech, whether it's on OnlyFans, whether it is in Hugh Hefner's magazine. It does not matter. I don't care what they decided in the 90s. They were wrong.
Amen.
Art, anatomical art is different than people who are doing sexual gratification for the sake of voyeuristic experiences of the viewer, right? That is a different thing than free speech. And we need to get a grip on that, because this country is going out of hand. Pulling back to the first, the top of the show, first segment, Samuel Adams. If you do not have a virtuous and moral people, it doesn't matter. The nation will crumble underneath the weight of its own debauchery. That's what we're looking at.
Omar, I think you're right. Your question is, how is AI like ChatGPT any different than a Ouija board? This is an evil spirit playground. And yes, it is.
I would say it's not necessarily evil spirit playground, but it is
certainly can be
open. It is when you are trusting something blindly like that, you are open to suggestion. And whether or not the tool is like a Ouija board or it's just a complex library, that's all AI is. It's a complex library of words, and it has a probability guess with some logic gates of yes, if, and, then put these words together, and some predictive analysis added on top of that and being over reductive. But it's really just a library of everything that's been written. But if we're so open that our brains fall out, if we're so open-minded that our brains fall out, if we're so open that our spirit is open to attack, we need to change that. We need some spiritual fortitude. And we also need to go ahead and clamp down on incitements to violence. I think President Trump's going to do that. We need to start looking at porn. Like I know I sound like the old school marm. I'm sorry, I don't care anymore. She was right. The old Karen who wanted, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with the pool hall in the streets? I don't know. I'm kind of with Karen. I'm with McCarthy. The communists were under the bed. Maybe it's time that we start actually taking this stuff seriously, and maybe we actually start to prosecute incitement to violence, and we start to prosecute people who are involved in pornography. I think Charlie Kirk might have been alive today, maybe, if we had taken that tack a long time ago. So, with that said, any final thoughts on this before we move on to something lighter?
Bring on the lighter.
Okay, well, let's go on to something lighter. So, today we have Steve Shenanigans, cut number 21, Mr.
Whoa.
Producer.
Oh, I can't go shoot me a buffalo.
Nope.
Stay out of my garbage can. I'll keep it to myself.
I love it. We're going animal tracking today.
So, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Do it quick.
Yes, sir. Quick. Hop. Okay. We're going to get started on this, and we're going to take you down the avenue and background into my world here, folks.
Tracking.
Animal tracking. And we're going to see if you can recognize any of these tracks, all of these, or are North American animals, and they reside here in the all 50 states of America.
Okay.
All of them right here in this United States. So let's begin. First one, Captain.
What made that track?
What made this track here? Does anybody have an idea?
I want to go with pig.
Tell us in the comment section.
I'm going
Let
pig.
us know what you think.
Who made the track?
What is this?
Deer. I got a vote for deer. From Omar. Sewer pickle.
Sewer pickle?
Omar might be a hunter.
Moose. Some sort of elk.
I'll vote for a moose.
Deer. Okay.
All right.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Steve, what is it?
It is a white-tailed deer.
Looky
yes,
there.
it is.
Yummy.
A white-tailed deer. One of the best table fare next to an elk.
Next one.
One of my favorite. Next. Yes. Can you name this mean critter?
What does that look like to y'all?
Mean critter. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Charlie and Nikki's son wrestled with this mean critter.
I got to keep going with pig. One of them has got to be
I got a
pig.
boar. I got a cow. I got a drop of golden
wild
sun.
pig.
I got a
Wild
hog. Bull.
Yep. That's all, folks.
All right.
So, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. All right, Captain. It is a wild boar.
Score.
Yes.
But you don't want that one. You want a younger one because that one's too tough.
Yeah, you want a younger one.
Yeah.
Now, that one would look pretty good on the wall, though.
Yeah,
It's got some
that big old
nice
guy.
teeth.
So for the person that thought it might be a cow, your cow track is going to be more circular in nature.
Right. Correct.
So it was not that, and
Are you utterly sure about that?
Oh, stop. Now, keep going, Steve.
Kryptenon,
we are
we
going to
have-
be here all day.
Yes.
From a cow guy.
Kryptenon says we need a
right.
scale. Some of these have them. I'm sorry, not all of them do. Go ahead.
Next one. Can you
Here's the
name
scale.
this large antlered animal
Boy, I want to
Here
go.
in North America?
I want to go moose on that.
What do you think,
In
Nikki?
the United States.
What does that look like? What do you think it is?
I would say an elk. I'm going to say elk.
All right.
Because
waiting for
my
the
husband
comments.
said
I
it.
got moose.
I'm in deep trouble. if
Moose
I'm
or
wrong.
elk, bison.
Well, moose could be too. Yeah.
Might be a moose with an MIT.
But you said it's an all.
Rosie
they're-
O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell. How did
correct.
they know?
You're correct.
Man,
You got us.
got it.
Rosie's looking better than ever.
It is an elk. You bet. Just, I had to put this one up here. You see the
That's
antlers
terrible.
on that dude? Man, that's a fine looking critter
I would
right
say
there,
that's-
man.
that's
Oh,
a
man.
heavy set of antlers there.
Next one, sir. Now, man, can you name this smoky critter?
You know, it looks like the handprint.
I want to say badger.
I'm going to say grizzly.
No, that's not.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I probably am.
So we got bear, grizzly, badger. All right.
Grandchild.
Black bear. Let's see.
All right.
I'm
You
getting
ready,
an F on
Captain?
this quiz. Says good vibes.
You ready,
ahead.
Captain?
Go, Steve.
All right, Captain, laid up there. The
Black.
black bear, like Smokey
I'm
the
so
bear.
bad at this. I am
Man.
so bad.
I'm throwing some stuff in there.
See, MAGA mom got it right. She was like, "Yeah, Smokey the bear. You're silly."
Yeah, see there? Uh-huh.
Kitty cat. How big is the?
Yeah,
Yes, that
okay.
helps to know how big. But the paw being wide as opposed to as small with a cleft is the cat versus the bear. But go
That's a
ahead.
good one.
Correct. And there's a difference between the grizzly. The grizzly's more straight across, whereas a black bear's more rounded on the toes.
Okay.
They kind of curve and go
Mm-hmm.
around. So,
Have you
yeah.
shot a black bear?
No, but I know their tracks.
Okay. I was just wondering because I know you've done a lot of hunting. And I
That
just
would
figured-
be. I would not want to run into a bear.
No. Okay.
I'll take
next
the man and not the bear.
Hello.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm a man, so yeah.
Nah, I'd rather deal with a guy than a bear.
Would you
myself.
rather do a man or a bear in the woods? Have you heard that one? No, just go, Steve. Man.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Man, go ahead,
Yeah.
Steve. Sorry.
Okay. Next one, Captain. Now, this
that's easy.
Almost made the national bird, other than the eagle.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So what is this, folks?
What is this?
Easy. That's a
What
turkey.
is this?
That's a turkey.
You think it's a turkey? Landry thinks it's a turkey.
Don't you love my turkey call?
Who is this?
Okay, go ahead.
Is it a?
I got a
herring
buzzard. I got a
or what?
turkey.
It's a turkey.
Score.
You bet.
Score.
It is the.
Yeah. I
Gobble,
finally
gobble.
got
Nice.
one.
Thanksgiving dinner. There we go.
Thanksgiving's coming.
It is
Oh my
coming up
gosh, it
close.
is.
Next one, Captain. Now, this one uses a large litter box.
Man, I want to say that's a tiger. That looks like our tiger emblem from high school.
Does it?
It does. It's got to be similar.
What
to
is
that.
it?
Got to be similar.
What is it?
Dun, da, da, da.
Remember, it is here in the
Oh, I've got
United
a
States.
vote for cougar, mountain lion. We got a couple mountain lion.
Mountain lion or cougar? Some
I'll
cat.
go with
Some
cougar.
cat.
I'll go with
Uses
Tiger,
a large
bobcat.
litter box.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
See what it was.
It is, come on, Cap. It is the mountain lion.
There you go.
And if you look, that is a large mountain lion.
There's a big.
That's a
Strong
good
kitty.
sized mountain lion.
Yep.
Next one, Captain.
Don't want to meet him in the woods either.
No.
Oh, this
Now.
is a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
There you go.
Oh, man, you gave it away. Man.
Nice.
Okay, now, this one and the one before do not get along very well.
Ooh.
Yes. They do not get along.
Boy, I don't know what this one is. I have no idea.
So I got an owl. I got a doggy. Cougar. Granny. Wolf.
Oh.
Coyote.
Wolf might be.
Wolf.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Go ahead.
Let's see. Coyote.
Yeah.
So coyotes are different than wolves. They are a different critter.
Yeah.
They are.
They're
And a
closer
coy-
to a fox than they are to
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Correct.
But they can be nasty.
They are, and they don't make good pets.
No.
Like a fox. They don't make good pets.
Ah, dang it. I
They're
was
not
going to get
good
one
pets.
and name it Wiley.
Not at all.
I like that.
Oh, right.
Next one.
Next one, Captain. Yes.
Does God have a sense of humor? Yes, he does.
I like running races against slow ones.
Oh, I know what this is.
Yes, just say it.
That's a penguin.
It's a rabbit. It's a rabbit.
Fox.
It's a rabbit.
I got a fox. I got a rabbit. And by the way, Sons of Liberty, does God have a sense of humor? Of course, God does. God laughs. God is the progenitor of mirth and laughter.
Amen.
He laughs at us every day.
Look at us.
I would.
Well, I was going to avoid making the platypus comment, but what I will say is God is the original sense of humor. He is the original sense of humor. Of course he does.
Okay, Captain, up.
A squirrel.
No.
Wait, what?
Where did you?
No.
No.
Wrong
He
one.
gave the wrong one.
Wrong one.
It's a rabbit.
It's a rabbit.
That's a rabbit.
I don't have that.
Huh? Whoa.
No.
Yeah, we had it
37. 37.
37.
Go to 37.
There-
Yeah.
There you
There you
go,
go. Okay, pull it
Captain.
down. Pull
They're
it
out
down.
of order.
Pull it down.
Oh,
Hate that when that
man.
happens.
Golly.
Hate
that.
But show that next one because now we know what a squirrel looks like.
38.
Oh, man.
38.
That 38.
38, buddy. They weren't in the wrong
Okay,
order.
now, this one's just plain crazy. He's crazy for nuts. Nuts crazy.
Now we know it's a squirrel.
It's the squirrel.
Okay, go ahead. 39.
Guys.
Mr. Producer.
All right. Thanks, Captain.
All right.
One after that. This one gets better. Now, this
What
one
is this?
just likes to lounge around in the backyards
no
in
doubt.
Florida.
There's no doubt what this is.
The Everglades are full of.
This is a snake of some sort.
Okay, so we
Just
got a
likes
snake.
to lounge around.
Someone
taking
says
it easy.
tail. Sniper, croc. Oh, that must be in regards to the Charlie thing. Croc, alligator, sloth, raccoon.
No, that's not a raccoon.
Okay, Mr. Producer. Someone,
Producer.
Family Love says iguana.
Oh, good thought. The snake was eating the iguana.
No,
An iguana.
No,
Yes.
it's because the tail lays behind that. It lays that definitive track.
And if you look at its feet are kind of like this, and it drags them and goes.
I thought it was a snake.
And they walk like this.
Yeah.
They don't I look like an iguana?
I did see the hands next to it.
Yeah,
but I didn't.
that's what it is.
Put that together. I didn't put it together.
That's what it is. Yep.
All right, Captain. Last but not least, come see me.
Oh, this,
in the
this is an iguana.
Everglades.
This is an iguana.
See, I thought the first one was a snake. This one's a snake.
Mr.
Okay.
Steve.
What would it be though?
Mr.
But what is it?
Mr. Steve, you gave it away with your puns.
Yes, you are. That's what I'm saying.
Say what it
Well, that's a pretty large one. That's
Boa
got to be a
No, python.
python.
Python is in the Everglades. Everybody keeps taking their pythons to Everglades, and they're multiplying and harming the alligator.
Yeah.
So I got a python and I got a rattlesnake. I got a sidewinder. Let's see what it is.
Sidewinder would be linear.
They go like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. This is a python. There you go.
A Burmese python. As a matter of fact, this snake right here in particular was over 20 feet long and weighed over 200 pounds. It is considered the largest Burmese python that has ever been taken.
Gavin Newsom.
Oh my.
Not as big as him, but
yeah.
But that is the largest Burmese python that has been taken from
the
wild and taken out of the wild
Is
in
this now?
Florida.
It's dead, right?
They
That's the
usually
only
euthanize all
way
these.
they can take them out of the wild. They
right.
don't allow you to remove them alive. Correct.
So now I think they have a hunting season for pythons, do they not, in Florida?
Which is all year long.
Yeah, because pythons
Correct.
have 100 babies at a time.
Ricky had a 13-footer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh.
Who did?
Ricky.
Really?
Ricky.
Wow, that's pretty
That's
neat.
killer.
Yeah, and this one was 20 foot
Get it
and
there.
over 200
It's,
pounds.
ew.
Isn't that a large snake?
That's
No,
a-
thank you.
That's
And
yeah.
the
do not
thing
need it.
is these Burmese pythons, from what I understand, have put a large hurt on the deer population in the Everglades, which is a particular species of deer that inhabit the Everglades.
Yeah, and that there's a lot of problems with
Is
it.
this particular subspecies?
A good
of deer.
bird. A good bird on the chat said hubby killed one in Miami with a track hoe. Got pic of them on the wall. So a good bird. I'd love to know how big was that thing. So if you would please.
We had one in the brush hog. It was 8 foot long.
Wow.
It just about killed the brush hog.
I
I'll bet
can
it did.
imagine.
Yeah, it was rough. It just totally wrapped it up and had to go and fish it out.
Should be
Yeah.
illegal to have pythons as pets. It's illegal. It should be illegal. Sorry. Because you're only going to keep them for so long and then you're going to let them go.
That's how Florida ended up.
Yes.
Or has
Get a
ended
load of
up-
this.
They're releasing robot rabbits, and when the snakes eat them, they track it to the snake.
Wow.
I'd have to see the article on that.
That's
It was in the chat. Yeah.
pretty interesting.
From a good bird. So, all right.
Interesting.
That was Steve. That was good.
It's been some shenanigans from Steve.
Well, thank you.
Dun,
So-
da, da, da.
I guess. So we could do music corner, or we could do.
Music.
Let's do the music review.
Okay.
Okay, if you're sure.
Let's do it. Well, because I'm thinking that's just the right amount of time. We've had enough demonic this week. Let's we'll read the screw tape letters next week. Let's go ahead and do song review.
That's a good way to end.
Yeah, I think so. Go ahead.
Okay. Hold on, I got.
We're gonna work on your transitions because you transition up first, and then you pivot the camera.
Yeah, I know.
Yay!
He's
And it's
producing-
Rai, the producer guy.
There you
Hi,
go.
guys.
Is that robot rabbit's not racing the Burmese pythons, is he?
No, it's intentionally wanting to
I'm
get
just
eaten.
wondering. I mean,
Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
Just
Start,
curious.
please.
Okay, so this week's song. Oh, I didn't put in my intro.
Miami was around 11 foot 9 inches as per the hubby. I knew he'd know. LOL. Nice.
Thank you for that, good bird.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so this week I chose "The Love of God" by Frederick M. Layman.
Layman.
Okay. So I actually didn't know this was an old hymn. I thought the version I heard was by Mercy Me. I thought they put
No,
that up today.
this is a great old time song.
Yeah, doing research
Old time
into
hymn.
this- into this
Timeless.
one. And then, but this is a fantastic old hymn. Let's just get into this goodness here. Verse 1, the love of God is greater far than tongue or pen can ever tell. It goes beyond the highest star and reaches to the lowest hell. The guilty pair bowed down with care. God gave his son to win. His erring child he reconciled and pardoned from his sin.
This is, I don't know about you, but I'm sitting here singing this in my head.
I absolutely
Yeah,
am.
so am I.
Great.
Yep.
So, and what I like about it is that it's not focused on the self. It's not focused on the experience. It's focused on God and his
himself.
majesty
Yeah.
and his beauty. And
How great his love is.
the love of God. And it reminds me of the words of the Apostle John, St. John, when he says, look, if we had all of the ink and all the parchment in the world, we couldn't we couldn't write it all down. And I'm spoiling the end of the song for those of you who don't know it, who doesn't know it. But it's in reference to like God's love is insurmountable, uncontainable. It is something otherworldly. It's something that we see, and it's actually a proof of the next world that we long for this unconditional, completely encompassing, all-fulfilling love. And the fact that we desire that says that there is the fact that you thirst means that there's water.
Yes. Yes.
The fact that you desire the love of God means that he's
Well, I think the first
real.
verse tells you that I've had this experience, and this is how I know that there's no words. There's no way I can explain the goodness of God. You can't say that unless you've experienced God.
Amen. Amen. And so, and reaches to the lowest hell, the guilty pair bound down with care. God gave his son to win Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm.
God gave his son to win us, to woo us with his love. His erring child he reconciled and pardoned from his sin. Oh my goodness. What a wonderful reflection on the goodness of God.
That is an orator, if you ever heard one.
Yes. This is a beautiful, beautiful song here.
Next
And
verse.
real quick, John Arthur, something you said reminded me of, I think it was a quote by C.S. Lewis. He said something like, there's nothing in this world that can satisfy me, so isn't the only logical conclusion that I was made for another?
So Lewis said something to that effect. He said the fact that we desire, there are spiritual goods that we desire, suggests that we were made for those things.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you will never find full fulfillment here on earth suggests that it must come from somewhere else, somewhere above and beyond. It's like John Schneider did a revamp of the old bit. Is there life after the womb? Well, how could there be life after the womb? There's nothing we know. I mean, well, when we get to meet Mom, you believe in Mom, this being outside of the womb. We'll get to eat with our hands, and we'll be able to put food in our mouths. The umbilical cord gives us everything. Why would we need to eat with our mouths? Because it'll be better. Because it'll be more glorious. No, there's no life after the womb. I look forward to life after the womb. Say the two twins in their mother's womb. And
wow.
and the fact that you have the hands and the arms, but you go 9 months having no conception of what the next world is, but only faint vagaries of who Mom and maybe Dad are.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting thought, because the whole time in the womb you're growing more and more like your mom.
Isn't that interesting?
So on earth we're growing more and more like Christ.
The gospel and the universe are kind of like God made this little parallelism.
Yes.
And I'm sure that was intentional. Everything with God is intentional.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
All right, let's get into
next verse.
Into the refrain here real quick. Oh, whoopsie. There we go. O love of God, how rich and pure, how measureless and strong, it shall forevermore endure, the saints and angels' song.
Think about this. There is no other historic individual that has captured the attention of men like Jesus. It just it goes on. It sustains. And that's kind of what I think about here. How measureless and strong, it shall forevermore endure. His kingdom is from now to everlasting.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen. Verse 3 is the one that has a lot of.
Verse 3 is the best. Verse 3.
Good finish to a beautiful song.
Yes. So, real quick, I didn't include verse 2 in here because, 1, I didn't think we would have time, and 2, the Mercy Me version only includes the first and third verses. So I'm sorry.
You heathen.
I'm sorry.
You're only familiar with this from Mercy Me.
We'll let it ride.
Sorry.
He's a young buck.
We'll let him go.
Yeah, you know I'm an early 2000s kid, right? You know that?
Yeah.
Small horned.
Little zoomer.
He looks fun.
Little zoomer.
Go ahead.
Little
Z-man.
Go ahead, zoomer.
All right.
We'll forgive you.
Thank you. Even if you don't, Christ will. That's all I need.
Yep. Amen.
Okay. Verse 3. Could we with ink the ocean fill, and were the skies of parchment made? were every stalk on earth a quill, and every man a scribe by trade, to write the love of God above would drain the ocean dry, nor could the scroll contain the whole, though stretched from sky to sky.
Wow.
I tell you, there's not many hymns on this level.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that can almost sound sacrilegious, and it's not meant to.
I know.
This is
well written.
This is extremely well written.
This is an S tier hymn.
most contemporary Christian music in general is lazy dreck from people who could not make it. I'm sorry, just saying, could not make it in the secular world, and because they couldn't make it in the secular world, they went to CCM, and they were able to make it. So that's why I prefer hymns. I prefer things that are more thoughtful. They're more theologically clicked in. There's a lot of artists who are beautiful artists, but they go out there, they have no understanding of who God is, and they have no idea of the holiness of God. That yes, you can love someone who's a homosexual, but you can't rubber stamp the lifestyle, right? And they just write this stuff that's borderline slop, as opposed to this. It was thoughtfully considered, and absolutely beautiful prose by Frederick Lehman. Just
the love of God.
The love of God. The love of God.
That's the name of that.
And so the reason we're doing the book corner, just in case you're curious as to why we do this every week. I'm sorry, book corner. The song review is because we want to get you into the thought process of when I'm at church, if I'm at a Protestant or a non-Protestant church that has a worship leader that's doing all these contemporary songs, not against contemporary Christian music, absolutely not. I'm against most of it because most of it's slop.
And the Bible says in Psalm, sing unto the Lord a new song.
A new song. It's good to sing new songs. It's good to sing old songs. It's good to sing old hymns. But the problem is a lot of the new stuff is lazy. It's like Christian cinema.
Who or what are we singing about?
And are we do we give God that reverence in thinking about what we're singing? Or are we singing about, I will praise you, God, I will worship you? Get to it then. This is worshiping God. This is praising God. This is direct
very
focus.
Clearly.
So final thoughts for the day, Steve.
Yeah. Listening to Ryan talk about this song was really, I don't think I've ever heard this song.
I'm so sorry. It's a good song.
It is a phenomenal song.
Just hearing the words was really, I singing it in my head. It's
a beautiful song.
And I don't sing good, so it still sounded good to me.
There you go.
But it's like you guys are really coming up with some really phenomenal songs, and it's just like the last time that I was on here, that one song that y'all did, If Jesus Was Sitting Shotgun. I ended up listening to the whole song, and I was just amazed that it was a really good song. It really is. So y'all doing some good stuff here, Ryan. Really good, young man.
Final thoughts?
Thank you, Mr. Steve.
I think to tie everything together, the things that Charlie Kirk stood for was truth, and his truth was based on the Word of God.
Correct.
And then you go over to the woke agenda, which is based on advancing people's confusion. And then you jump over to AI, and you have very confused young people who are talking to an AI that is encouraging them on more destruction. So when we're talking about be a truth teller, find your voice, be courageous, be bold, because the more we tell truth, the more we can defeat the confusion that the woke agenda wants to raise our children in. This is not about right or wrong. This is about saving the next generation. This is about saving a country that was built on fundamental principles that were to make families and individuals prosper. And I think we need to keep sight of that.
Charlie.
There's a couple things I want to lay out here. Charlie Kirk was not a fascist. It is a lie. Charlie Kirk was not a racist. That is a lie. And I hope to be able to have the opportunity to refute some of that with actual facts here in the coming weeks. But I'm very grieved about how Christians
Are they?
can make these kind of accusations
Are they?
about Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
So I think I'm very thankful for his life and what he did. And his death awoke a generation.
Indeed. And look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to turn to someone else just for a second before I wrap up to tie it together. I don't know if most of y'all know in the chat, but everyone here knows who Dr. Frank Turek is. He was the gentleman who was doing CPR on Charlie Kirk in the back of the car on the way to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He saw the absolute worst. He saw everything. Everything. He was back at UVU this week, asked me questions, and he was ready with an answer. Dr. Frank Turek, a good example of a modern-day Paul or Christ, going back into the hornet's nest and saying, you want to ask questions? Let's talk. Good stuff there. And that's what we should be about. We should be prepared to answer questions. I can't tell you how many calls I have gotten from friends and family and opportunities from people who do not believe in God. Friends, clients who've called me and said, what about this Charlie Kirk thing? What do you think? Now is the time. Now is the time to be a witness and a testimony to that work that God did. And Charlie Kirk, he's doing in all of us. I hope all of those who follow Christ. So be about that this week. Be that light. And I'll leave it with this quote from Charlie Kirk. Get married, have kids, stop prying to oblivion, and leave a legacy. Be courageous. All in Christ's name. With that said, you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much.